You're live on the Regional Media Podcast Network.
Let's get down to business.
The Discussion with local media trailblazer Fletcher Ford, featuring special guest Darren Brown.
We're going to discuss it right now.
If you want to be successful locally, you have to get your butt out of bed and put in the work.
Yeah, I know. The guy's really good.
Yeah, he's so sharp he probably cut himself smiling.
The Discussion, local helping local.
All right, this is my show, and it's a serious intellectual hour of discussion, and I want to keep it that way.
That's what I'm talking about, baby! Woo!
Fletcher has access to some of the highest performing people in small business today.
We're talking about a lot of money here.
That sounds so good.
This guy has connections. Fletcher Ford, featuring special guest Darren Brown.
What the you two talking about?
You know what I'm talking about, right?
And now, The Discussion.
We're sitting with Josh Jackson from Country Financial. Josh, how you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. God, this seems so weird because it seems like we were just here yesterday talking about insurance.
It's because we were, and then the power went out.
We were? Yeah, we forgot about that, huh? Yeah, once we have that generator installed, that won't be an issue. But, yeah, we were rocking along, and we were probably 30 minutes into this puppy, and voila, no power.
Yeah, that was... Do you still have that audio?
Yeah, probably.
Splice it in.
Yeah. Just the miracle of broadcasting.
At least we got some lunch out of it.
Yeah,
true.
We did. It was pretty good too. I'm withering away to nothing. I need to eat as kind of stuff as fast as possible. Talking about power outages. I mean, what happens when your power goes out in your home and you have a sump pump with no battery backup?
Awful things.
Has that happened to some of your clients?
A lot.
Define a lot. Like,
we probably, when a major storm rolls through, we'll get 20, 30 calls the next day. People have water in their basement. In some cases, they have other people's stuff floating up from the sewers back in.
Stuff. Define stuff.
Fecal matter and whatnot.
Is that the professional term? Fecal matter. And whatnot. What's whatnot?
Oh, the toilet paper. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
Yeah, you like that?
All the fun stuff.
But I guess since you bring that up, we are rolling up on sump pump season. When you have a major storm roll through, it tends to have a lot of electricity with it, high winds, knocks out the power. That's when you're most vulnerable.
Yeah, something that happened with us, and I don't know if you've ever had a client that this happened to, but we had a septic system, and all of the water runoff in the water table was really, really high when all the snow was melting, and all of a sudden our septic was getting backed up, every 24 to 48 hours, which was unheard of. But when I was talking to the people that actually do it, they said they literally had hundreds of calls in a few hour span where people are in the septic world have the same issue. Mm-hmm. Like, so how does that coverage work? So, like, if I have a septic tank versus a city water or sewer, is that different coverages, or how does that work?
Same endorsement would cover both.
Oh, okay.
Whether it's a septic or sump pump. The basic policy issued in our states have an exclusion for surface water. And unfortunately, the septic and sewer would be classified as surface water once it exits your home. So if that backs up into the house, you need to buy that coverage back. Most major carriers offer that coverage to be purchased back. Whether it's how they code it's all different. Sump pump, sewer backup, combo of the two. But that coverage would be available to purchase back and get coverage in that situation.
So basically what you're saying is if we don't do that as clients, we're pretty much in a pretty crappy situation.
Correct.
No pun intended.
I'm trying to make Josh smile a little bit. He looks so serious, He's Mr. Insurance.
That's the insurance world. Got to be serious.
Oh, be glad you're not in our business because there's no seriousness about it.
Or make sure I don't say anything that's got to go to OGC.
Yeah. OGC, is that like the insurance mafia or something?
OG.
Nope, that'd be our attorneys that oversee everything we do.
No, so are they the mob, like the attorneys mob?
Pretty much. They're out of Chicago, I think.
So have you ever gotten in one of those phone calls from them?
To date, no. I always try to stay outside of the gray area.
Well, if we can accomplish anything during this podcast, let's make that happen for you.
Let's see that policy at work.
Yeah. So what can't you talk about? Let's talk about that.
No comment.
Yeah.
Anytime you say the word guarantee.
Yeah. Guarantee. You can't guarantee anything in the insurance business. Well, you can guarantee that rates will go up. That's pretty much what happens all the time in insurance. But it's supply and demand, right?
Well, everybody got a decrease last year during COVID.
Well,
That's right. Yeah,
You know,
actually,
I won't say everybody.
I did get a check back from them. That was nice.
a check back. I mean, the only check I ever get from the insurance company is a claim check.
I mean, it wasn't like thousands of dollars, but it was a little something because they figured out people are driving less. I'm assuming that's the reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a nice little check. Thank you, country.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome.
So back to the sump pump thing real quick.
Yeah.
One other thing.
Back to the crap talk.
Yes.
Okay.
One thing that, so we talked about the sewer backup side. You talked about the power outage and what to do. Battery backup would be ideal.
Yeah.
That's one way to self-insure if you don't have the coverage. And then being all nerdy, you definitely want to have your downspouts, gutters.
Nerdy. Like nerdy. Like those are only nerds go out and work on their downspout? Is that
No, but just getting all into the fine details of how you can self-insure and what you need to do. You know, make sure your land's graded so the water runs away from your home. Sump pump, or not.
Make sure your neighbor's sump pump's not running into your yard.
Yeah. And don't run yours into theirs. By the way, I had a claim once where we had liability for my client flooding the neighbor's yard with their sump pump line.
Huh. Interesting. I should probably stop doing that then.
Well, there's a reason why you do that to your neighbor.
Oh, please. I have some nice neighbors.
That's not what I heard.
Yeah. Well, they'll get over it. I'm not the most popular person. But hey, I mean, I'm one of those guys, you either like me or you hate me. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
More people hate me than like me, but I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was going to say, what questions you have for me? I mean, I've got topics to talk
Well,
about, but insurance is not.
questions?
Hey, back on the sump pump stuff. Now,
Also, we're still talking
yeah,
crap.
I want to go back talk about crap more because what if somebody
And why
doesn't have a sump pump in their basement, but they get water like through a toilet or something because of a storm? Is that possible?
First of all, if they don't have a sump pump in their basement, they're a moron.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Some of the old homes don't.
Some old homes don't. I mean,
Some of the homes
we had to
don't.
put one in our house, but
Well, because you're not a moron.
hey, good thing this is recorded because he just admitted I'm not a moron.
Oh, that's going to be your ringtone. Darren's going to have a new ringtone on his phone. I'm not a moron. I'm not a moron. I'm not a moron. Come on.
So what was your question?
So if someone doesn't have a sump pump, is there any coverage for them if they were to get, if their sewer did back up or anything like that?
Negative.
Negative Ghost Rider.
Nope.
No crap coverage.
Not through the insurance company. Some municipalities may be able to do something, but I don't want to hang any of them out to dry.
What about
Okay,
like flood insurance or something like that? Would
So,
that cover anything
yeah,
like that,
so-
or is
Flood
that-
would.
Okay.
But that's a whole nother separate.
Yeah, that's fun stuff.
So hypothetically, if I left the sink water running in my house and it overflowed and went down the stairs and flooded my basement, is that covered?
Yes.
Okay. And why is that covered?
Water inside of your home, controlled water, is always covered. So
Okay.
if you have a child that clogs the toilet and it floods the floor,
Or a brother
or anybody,
or somebody that stops over and for a beer like Darren.
yes. So controlled water brought into the house through the water lines, that's all covered. It's just that exterior water, the surface water, that if it enters or exits your home.
So you're saying if I want a new kitchen,
Yeah. Turn on the faucet and
turn
leave.
off the faucet?
I am not saying that.
You're not advocating that.
No.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mental note.
I'll write that down. Not to beat the crap out of this topic.
There's that pun again.
I know. But I don't know, man. I have like that regurgitating effect if I ever like have a sewer issue or something like that. Like even when my kids were growing up, man, if I had to like change a diaper, I was like, oh, I can't. You know, I mean, like I would close the door to the room and stick my hand through and stuff to try to like change it. Yeah, it wasn't for me. So like for people that are like me, sissies, number one, you usually call your wife because they can handle any of that stuff, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I do is I call Audra. She's like all over that stuff. But I mean, are there services out there like that would clean that stuff up? I mean,
yeah, there's several restoration companies here in town that will provide remediation for that. So they'll clean it up, take away what needs to be taken back to their shops.
So like your typical like fire restoration or accident restoration company does that?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And then they can also put it back together. So not only cleaning it, so it's kind of a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. That is the worst advertising pun ever in the world. It's like conveniently located at your one-stop shop for all your
needs.
Yeah. Oh, what was the guys that came out to do the sump pump? They said their logo. They had like a hand of cards, right? And they said a flush is better than a full house. That was awesome. I thought that was the funniest thing ever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean. You know, you think in the back of your head there's like a room full of people somewhere coming up with all this marketing greatness, but no, there's a couple of buddies probably drinking
over beer.
Yeah. Hey man, this is pretty cool. Yeah. But what are some of the best marketing slogans you've heard over the years? Like I've heard the working to be number one in the number two business.
Oh yeah, number one and number two.
That's
business.
common.
Yeah, that's good.
I had a client one time that was a radiator company, and they're not from around here, and they were their slogan was a great place to take a leak. I mean, there's a lot of goofy ones like that. I mean, like who's the most famous insurance person not around? Well, besides the Josh Jackson,
right?
Right.
Yes,
but like who's the most famous insurance person? Is it the dude from that other company that's in all the movies that plays like that? I mean, like, if you go back in the commercial, you know what I'm talking about? Like, I can't even think of the guy's name.
I can't think of it.
I mean, it must not work very good because I don't remember the name of the company.
Yeah.
But it does make me want to buy insurance and call, like, the normal insurance guy that I deal with.
I'll tell you what, though. You go to lunch with this guy, he knows everybody. Josh Jackson.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like I'm with a movie star when I go out to lunch with him.
Stop it.
Oh, yeah.
Stop.
Did you stop for paparazzi and stuff?
Yes.
Oh. Honey, would you like a selfie? Come on over here. I'll give you a selfie. Yeah.
And everything.
You run into a lot of people when you grow up here, you go to college here, then you become a professional. You know a ton of people.
So what's changing in insurance in the next 6 months, right? I mean, obviously building materials through the roof. Like I went to buy a piece of plywood the other day, and it's like, I don't know, I got up to the checking account, and the lady pushed me over to a loan processing person to fill out an application to get a piece of plywood.
So I was talking to one of my clients. They do restoration work, and sheet of plywood's $40 per sheet. Used to be maybe $8.
Country, I mean, obviously Country does a ton of different stuff other than insurance. What's been like the biggest area for your business to grow in the last 5 years?
We're going through that's a tough question. So for the last 5 years, we've been working on getting deeper into our households, having more conversations about how to help them plan and prepare for retirement, have conversations about protecting themselves in the event life throws them a curveball between here and there. Mm-hmm. So we acquire a lot of home and auto business through a referral network. And so just having those other conversations to be there for them. If you are retired or on the job or you're coasting, so the days of an insurance agent growing a big book and then spending every day at the golf course, those are
long gone.
Yeah. So
I know why Darren got out of insurance.
Exactly.
But
I just think he hated working with you.
Hey, I don't blame him.
Hey, every time he calls me, it's like, ooh, no, flush it to voicemail.
Yeah, what does that prick want? Oh.
Trying to sell me something.
I know, right? Usually, and then he'll call me, and I'll flush him. Then he'll call you, and you'll flush him, and vice versa. And then he'll text both of us. I'm like, what the fuck?
And then are sitting right here, right?
And then it's the time I do answer him. Oh, I don't need anything. I just call into bullshit.
Yeah.
But then it's the days I don't answer. It's like, man, I really needed something.
So let me tell you about an insurance issue. I mean, it's not really an insurance issue. And well, I guess it is. Let's talk about, my wife got in an accident in a Range Rover. Like, I don't know, it's been like 2.5 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So
it was right when you guys got back from
yeah,
vacation.
Yeah. So she's pulls up to a stop sign. It's her turn to go. Takes off. Some
individual.
Thank you. Decided it was her turn to go too, and drove right into the side of her at full force and did some pretty significant damage. Well, here's the interesting part, right? Like, we took it to MVP Collision to get fixed because they're buddies of ours and they're clients, and they've always fixed all of our cars. And we just usually take whatever rental car he can give us. No big deal. Obviously he's not a Range Rover dealership, so he's not going to give us some high-end car.
Right.
The other insurance company, and I'm going to leave their name out of it just because, but I think they probably called my wife at least half a dozen times saying, we need to get you out of your rental car. We need to get you out of your rental car because, it's taking too long to fix your vehicle. Well, it's taking a while to fix a vehicle because parts are on back order, because it's a specialty vehicle. And it was a zero fault accident on her side. So, is that common with insurance companies, or is it mostly like cut rate insurance companies? Is that common practice? I told her to stop taking the damn calls, and when the car's done, the car's done. And if you got to pay if we have to pay for the rental, that's fine. We'll just sue the other insurance company and get our money back. But that might not be the way that someone else wants to handle that.
And I don't know the other company, so I can't really speak for them, but I know that we have $1 per day amount that we would like to pay for a vehicle. And so we've got arrangements set up with the major rental car companies to get a discounted rate because we're renting so many cars across the country. So I can only imagine that they would prefer to have her in one of those fleet vehicles rather than...
I can tell you that the rate being charged is less than what there would be at one of those big companies.
Then I don't quite understand why they're trying to get her out of it.
I think it's more of the number of days. I think, don't they normally plan on, hey, we're paying to fix your vehicle, but we're not going to pay for a rental if it's going to take 30 days. And
that seems to be the conversation, right?
Yeah. Usually it's I think it's 14 days they'll approve it up to, or something. But then
the body shop is
I've been in that situation before, but it was I hit a deer, so it was country paying for it.
You hit a deer or
a deer hit me, I should say.
Deer. Oh, you're gonna go with that? A deer hit you?
Yes, it did actually.
Well, I don't believe that.
I did see the damage. It wasn't as.
So Darren was driving.
That was
home.
The one where the deer leaped over the guardrail and impacted the side of my car.
Okay, so Darren was texting and driving, and he got in an accident.
Negative. That's illegal. You cannot do that. No one does that.
Whatever. Come on. It's probably...
Hey, it's like National Don't Drive with the Phone in Your Hand month.
I think we should create our own national day. What do you guys think? How about...
National... Everybody bring Darren a beer day?
Well, yeah, that could work. But how about National Don't Be an Idiot Day? Could you get through a day with...
Can't do that these days.
Why?
Because that means you're calling someone an idiot and they're going to get upset.
But there are idiots. I don't understand that. It's in some cases you run into people and you're like, well, they're idiots. Like the person that she's dealing with on the other insurance company.
The adjuster's thinking that probably every single time they handle a claim. You gotta this person's an idiot.
Oh. Hey, but I look at it like this, right? Like the deal with Audra's car, right? I look at this. The alternative is we could ship your vehicle to the Land Rover dealership in Chicago, and then it takes you, how long is it going to take to do there? And I'm guarantee the fleet vehicles that they're going to put you in are not,
they're going to be equivalent to
that's my point. Is like I said that to this person that was calling, and they were like, well, we'll just wait a few weeks and check back. Trust me. My wife is driving around it. She would really love to have her car back. She doesn't want to, and we talk about being spoiled and all that kind of stuff and things, but listen. Her rental car doesn't have automatic headlights. And I know that's the end of the world for some people, but listen.
It is when you're a car guy.
Yeah. Do you know how many times I've left the lights on that damn thing? Do you know how many times we went to the movies the other night and, I'm driving this thing and, I'm making sure my friends don't see me and stuff and driving this thing.
It's like a moped.
Yeah, right.
Cool until your friends see you.
So I'm driving this thing. We pull into the cinemas and I park the thing and I get out and the thing's going me because the lights are on. She goes, you got to shut your lights off. And I'm like, okay, if some engineer somewhere that built this car can come up with a buzzer to tell you to turn off your lights? Can't you? They just create a buzzer to tell you to turn on the damn lights. I mean, doesn't that make sense? But again, I go back to what I was talking about earlier. There are idiots in life. I mean, people. So it's.
I'm just hearing some middle class whining right
Oh
now.
my, jeez. Hey man, I'm a car guy. I like cars. I've always loved cars, but it's. I mean,
did you put automatic headlights in your new Chevy you're working on?
Yeah, but that's way cooler to drive than. So like, like you can't say you can drive a Nissan Quest or a 55 Chevy and both of them have the same features. Which one would you rather drive? Are you going to drive the Nissan Quest?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of car do you have again? Audi, I think.
Does that thing have auto headlights?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, I do have a car now that has a 4-position massager on both seats. That's kind of nice. Audra wasn't feeling well the other night, and we literally drove around town so she could have a massage in the car.
Can't you get one of those for your lazy boy?
Yeah, but that's not as cool as the car, man. So since we're talking about cars, let's talk about I wanted to talk a little bit about auto insurance because, look, there's all different kinds of things that can happen, right? I'll give you an example. My niece lives with us, and she, typical teenage thing, backing out of the driveway, which I'm one of those guys that can't stand it when kids park in the driveway. So I'm like, already you got one strike because you parked in the driveway. But, she backs out of the driveway, boom, runs into my son's car, does a significant amount of damage to his car, pretty much totals his car out. Her car, she says, oh, just a scratch. Well, yeah, just a scratch. Anyways, obviously both cars are on my policy. So the first thing I did was bring both of them together and say, you two guys need to work this out because I'm not turning this in on insurance because the same insurance company is not going to pay for you guys, right? So they worked it out and then they got it taken care of. But, like, does that happen where people actually claim damage because, their wife hit their other car or something like that? Is that a common thing?
It happens more often than you'd believe.
Seriously?
Yes. Especially with youth. That kind of, youth drivers are inexperienced.
Idiots.
Well,
no, I'm kidding.
There
are some good. Well,
we all learn by experiences, right?
Yeah.
So, depending on a lot of factors, there's a possibility you could have coverage. Needing to know more, like whether or not they're both fully covered. If it needs liability only, that can all impact whether or not the claim's paid out. Mm-hmm. But there's a possibility that those would have been covered. Yeah. But it also goes back to, depending on how much damage, do you justify
deductibles and all that jazz, right?
Deductibles, raised premium, all that comes into play when you go to turn it in.
So when you go through a rate increase, and in typical insurance words, I guess, is when you go through like a rate increase, what are some of the factors? Obviously, they're looking at claim history and some of those things, but like, let's say I'm a policyholder and, I've had some claims, I would obviously expect my insurance rates to somewhat go up, right? I mean, that's just common knowledge, right? But if I've never had claims, but there's been a, not a secret that there's been, ice damming and all this stuff that happened last year, and there was a hurricane in Florida and building costs are outrageous. Doesn't that kind of like would I expect what does the insurance company do to try to figure out how those rates are increased? Is it just supply and demand, or how does that work?
Well, from the most basic standpoint, insurance is a pooling of risk. Everybody's premium goes into a coffee cup. Claims drinks out of the coffee cup. If the coffee cup runs empty, company goes bankrupt.
Yeah.
So there are number crunchers down at home office. Their job is to make sure the coffee cup stays full, but not too full.
Okay.
If it gets too full, the Department of Insurance doesn't like that. So
it's regulated somewhere.
Correct. It's very regulated.
Okay.
So whenever they apply for a rate increase, they have to run it by the state. The state has to approve it based on the financials. And,
I did not know that.
So really, we could blame the state of Illinois.
I don't know. Let's not talk about that.
But as far as
Governor Pritzker.
as
Sorry,
far
I was
as-
clearing my throat. My bad.
As far as insurance goes, there's a lot of things going against our home. When I say our, I mean the industry, like just the insurance industry in general. Home policies are running up against a wall right now in regards to roof claims.
I love how you say roof.
Roof
Claims.
Roof
The,
fire.
the roof.
Hey man, did you get the roof covered? Okay.
Roof is on
Note
fire.
to self: enunciate better.
Yeah.
Roof.
But anyways, frequency. There are far more claims now. Back in the day, I think there's been a shift. A lot of the blogs I'm reading, everybody's seeing it. There's been a shift in clients filing claims where they wouldn't have in the past. I think about my parents, for example.
Yeah.
They would have never filed a claim unless they saw shingles on the ground or water spots in their ceiling.
Right.
And now you've got, we had contractors descend upon us in April, and they
Yes.
stayed all the way through the August storm.
Yeah.
And they worked,
That's a big business now. I mean, storm recovery, that's all it's about. It's a sales business more than anything now.
It is. And so, I see, this is my opinion, that there could be a shift in how the roofs are covered in the future. It may not look the same 5 years from now as what it is today.
I think it's a combination of that, but I also think it's a combination of, the homeowner's generation changing. And, you mentioned your parents. Like, I'll talk about, like, me. Like, I wouldn't turn in a claim if, I could fix something in a Saturday afternoon. I just wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. But I know how to fix it, right? Like, I grew up in that life, and, I know how to fix stuff. But I know people, that are 10, 15 years younger than me. That just made me sound really old.
Yes.
But I know people that are 5 to 10 years older than me. Yeah. So, like, I know, and they don't know how to do those tasks. So, they have no choice but to turn it into an insurance company and call a contractor and go through that. But that also reflects in their decision making when they buy a policy. I would think, like they're the ones that freak out over a $500 deductible because they don't want to pay $500 out of pocket to fix, a leaky bathroom or whatever that causes some damage. But
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine that
you don't have any friends. Come on.
Okay, it was a relative.
It was Pat.
Do you have friends?
Well, I thought this guy was my friend, but he's not.
So you made fun of me for the roof.
The roof.
No, they were actually talking about these roofing contractors are getting paid by the insurance companies, and not necessarily country. I don't know if they do it or not, but during the winter, they're going out with roof rakes and pulling snow off roofs, and they're actually claiming these under the insurance policies.
Yeah, it's probably a lot cheaper than putting a new roof on.
Well,
I've never seen.
I don't know if country's doing that or not, but it's.
I've seen roof
it's turning into a bigger business, and I guess it's really popular up in like the Chicago area.
Yeah, because the snow has nowhere to go.
Yeah,
I was thinking probably further north, right where there's feet of snow.
Could be. Yeah,
because a policy would cover collapse.
Yeah.
From the
So they're
weight.
probably trying to prevent that. So maybe they figure they pay a little now, they don't have to pay for a whole roof. I don't know. I don't know if that's their thought
But
process
they won't
or
pay
not.
to tear down a tree.
Nope.
Interesting how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Again,
confused.
somebody in a little corner cubicle made that decision.
Took it to the big room of people in around a boardroom and
That
said, yep,
hasn't-
that makes sense. Let's do that. Then they go to the PR department and they say, we're going to do this, and let's put out a news release that says we're doing all this, and we're fighting back against collapsed roofs. Whatever. I spent some time in Alaska with our church working on a missionary's home in Anchorage, right? And we built an addition on. And what's interesting about it is I keep thinking about, like, I always think about this place when people complain about snow or complain about cold or whatever. We built this property and they had gotten some of the work done before we got there. We show up and I'm like, oh, awesome. It's framed out, had 2x6 framing. And I'm like, oh, it's a little bit thicker 2x6 framing, and more insulation. That makes sense. I get it. It's cold. It's framed out. I'm thinking, I'm mapping out the plan for the day. Like, we're going to insulate and we can get the sheetrock up and we can get this thing happening, right? Until I found out later that night when we were starting to get all of our materials together that we literally had to frame another 2x6 wall 6 inches in front of the other one. So, like, we had to insulate vapor barrier, then build another 2x6 wall and insulate that vapor barrier, and then we could sheetrock it. So the room, was, I don't know, like a 30 by 30 room, and it ended up being like 20 by 20 when it was outside. But I mean, it's like they do a lot. I'm thinking about that place. It's like I never really thought about until I had my own episode with snow and ice on the roof. I never really thought about what they do for. I mean, I guess looking back, a lot of the roofs are very strong pitch. There's not a lot of flat roofs, and I mean, but you're talking a huge amount of snow, and I don't know, it just made me think.
Well, I was having, back to that point, talking about different building codes, different areas. I was speaking with one of my neighbors. They're from Florida, and I was relaying a story about my brother-in-law down in Austin. We all know they had that deep, the polar vortex reached all the way down there. They lost power. Their house fell down to about 42 internal. Outside, it was still 7. So he was freaking out. They had no water. The water was out. The power was out. He was worried about his pipes freezing and bursting. So the home guy in me kicked in and was like, find your water shut off. You need to know where that's at. They don't put it inside the house down there. It's out on the curb.
Yeah, it's probably frozen.
He was able to get it thawed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was out on the curb. And so luckily for him, so that's something everybody needs to know. But up here, we have all our water shutoffs inside.
Yeah.
In case we need to get it, because the likelihood of a pipe freezing and bursting is high.
Probably one of the best lessons that I've ever, and it was a costly lesson. I mean, we went away on vacation one time, and, I didn't shut off my water. I didn't think anything of it, and just got on vacation, came back, and I came home, and like, man, there's a lot of moisture in the house. I don't know what's going on. Well, the little water line on the fridge busted and just spewed water for like almost a week while we were gone. And at the time, I mean, we had that, laminate floor or whatever that everybody was doing. Everybody thought it was the newest, coolest thing, but it was literally a cardboard box. Looked like
it doesn't like water,
not even a little bit. So
it had to swell up and buckle.
Oh, it was bad. I mean, it was just horrible. So, I mean, that's what I walked into. But I tell you what, man, if I take a vacation anywhere, the first thing I do is go open up my faucets and shut off my water. I mean, I'm never doing that again.
No,
that happened the day before Thanksgiving one year.
Wow.
You look so intrigued by that.
I know, right? Like I don't have any better stories about insurance.
No, that's it, man.
So, I guess help me understand this, Josh. One of the things a broadcasting friend of mine had said the other day, I was on a call and like a Zoom conference, and I was talking to him, and one of the things that he brought up was, with the cost of building material right now, if you're a cheap ass on insurance and you've underinsured most of your properties, that could come back and bite you in the butt, which is what happened to them. So they had a loss where, they had a fire, and it was in the middle of all this with the building materials being 4 or 5 times the amount. And they had some kind of stated value or something, and they couldn't rebuild for what they were talking about.
Correct.
So, I mean, is that how are you handling that with clients now? I mean, is that something that...
Well, so our job is to always try to be the best in regards to answering calls, returning voicemails, but most importantly, offering appropriate coverages. So, as Darren can speak to as well, our policies have inflation protection on them. So most of our policies, if you're a new home, you could have your entire house rebuilt regardless of what we have it insured for. No ceiling. We have other policies that's our extended replacement cost policies. We have other policies that have additional replacement costs where we will go 120% of the insured amount, which I've got 4 or 5 builders that are good friends of mine that I've been speaking to lately, and lumber packages on, if you wanted to build the same home today that was constructed a year and a half ago, your lumber, depending on the size of the house, would be 30, 40 grand more.
That's insane.
So if you had a total loss right now, it could be bad. if you haven't properly protected your house and you've just focused on the bottom dollar.
And it sounds like it's not going to go down anytime soon. It sounds like it's going to continue to go up in price. I was just talking to a buddy of mine. We're
there you go with that friends thing.
I know,
again.
right? It said buddy this time.
Oh,
no,
count him. He's got 2 friends.
No, it's the same one.
No, this is a different one. Okay.
We don't believe you. But anyways, carry on.
Because I've been looking at putting a deck on our house, and we've been holding off because
put concrete is cheaper.
Well, I know that we're going to have to because, during the whole COVID shutdown and everything, lumber was hard to come by. Now that's not really the issue. The issue is the price has gone up, 2, 3, 4 times the original cost.
But it's one of those things that what's frustrating for me is there was price gouging when there was an issue with the world markets and gas prices and stuff, and there was a lot of people driving up the prices just to meet demand and stuff, and there was this price gouging issue, right? Is that not becoming an issue with building material? Because, those increases, while some are justified, 30 and 40 and 50%, one piece of 4x8 plywood that's normally like $11 to $15 was $48. Like, that's not an increase in supply and demand. That is basically just saying, we have what you need, and we're going to charge you a premium for it.
Well, not to go down the political route, but
please do.
From what they're
please
telling,
do.
I know you really want to go there. Yeah. I'm trying to stay out of it.
Yes.
He's been waiting for it.
Oh.
But with
remember that term idiots we said earlier? Oh, carry on.
So what the builders are telling me, COVID put a pressure. First off, they shut down factories because they didn't think, or the mills, because they didn't want or believe that demand was going to stay up. They thought COVID was going to impact more jobs. People were going to do less stuff, when in reality, a lot of people were stuck at home, and they're like, hey, I don't like
right. So
integrate it or fix it.
So let me go into the real world thinking that we were talking about. This is where I go back to idiots. Like some idiot in a room somewhere in a boardroom made that decision and said, oh, yeah, the market's going to crash. Really? So stick anybody in their house for an extended period of time if they're going to fix it.
Yeah, they're going to find something wrong with it and want to fix it.
And that's back to why. So our builders right now are putting out tons of permits for new construction.
Yeah,
because once you get trapped in your house with your family for a period of time,
you want a new house with more rooms.
Yes,
away from your family.
I want a really big garage.
Yeah, that's I just did that. Yeah,
with a carriage house on top.
Yeah. 4 blocks away. No, that's what I'm talking about, though. I know I kind of get hot and bothered over this. Yeah, I said hot and bothered. Yeah.
But we're not going to touch that.
Yeah. No. Those are the things that irritate me, though. It's like there's so many little idiotic things that happen in the world today, especially in business, where people just don't actually think through the scenario. Like, they make decisions like, well, gee, nobody's going to build a house.
They automatically think the worst is going to happen.
Or they're not making decisions based on data, right? It's like, well, everybody's going to be out of work and everybody's going to be, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and in some of our markets, in some of our areas, COVID hasn't been really beneficial to advertisers in certain sectors or businesses in certain sectors, right? But there are a huge number of businesses that sales have went up or sales have maintained and profitability has went up. And it's because they've been, and if you've noticed it, you can, if you've ever been through like the North Park Mall or the South Park Mall, which is a terrible business anyways, but if you've been there in the last, I don't know, 6 months, what you find is all these businesses that are now running their business according to profitability instead of saying, my wife and I went there to get something a couple weeks back, and she's like, we gotta go. They close at whatever time, and I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Like, I gotta wait, what? So we go in there and I'm like, why are all these people shutting down? Why is that one closed? Well, they have limited hours over here and limited hours over here and limited hours over here. So everybody inside that building just became a destination business, right? They just basically said, and I understand protecting COVID and all that kind of stuff. I get all that. But they became a destination business that is a demand-only business that says you come to me when you want my services, period. And the entire appeal of a shopping mall is to stick people in front of traffic so that they will buy their service when they're not in the market for it. That's the entire appeal of it.
But that's why they're failing.
That's exactly why they're failing, right? And it's like, again, I want to go to the boardroom where somebody's sitting in there making the decisions and saying, you're an idiot. You really should look at this practically instead of staring at some numbers and saying, oh, my God, the traffic from 7 to 9 p.m. is really, really slow, so we got to cut back and we got to crap. You got to realize what your mission is and what you're doing, and it's frustrating.
I remember back out of college, I worked for a cell phone
You didn't go to college, did you?
I did. And if we didn't have the store...
Wait, back up. You worked at a cell phone store?
I did. Not
Did
yours.
you work for Fetch?
Not yours. Not yours.
It's like, which cell phone store did you work for?
One of the authorized dealers for U.S. Cellular.
Hmm.
That was about
I bought most of those guys.
But so we had a penalty.
Yeah, same thing.
If we weren't open by 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. whenever the mall opened,
Yeah.
we had the business would have got penalized.
I can remember times where I had a business, and I had, regional managers and store managers and salespeople. And I can remember a time driving on more than one occasion, driving to Ames, driving to Iowa City because we had mall locations that somebody was sick, someone couldn't show up because it was literally costing me thousands of dollars every hour that we weren't open. Like, I remember that like it was, and now today it's like, it doesn't matter,
Well, because the only ones that could get away with it were the anchor stores.
Well,
the
malls were full then.
Well, yeah, and I think the mall. I think most of the malls. I mean, they're to blame because they stopped doing. And what's ironic is, the malls don't do any. You're basically a small business, and the reason you go into a mall is because you're buying traffic. That's what you're doing.
Right.
Okay. So, and I would say this to any business or entrepreneur wanting to start a business or go into a location. The first question you need to ask the mall is, how do you generate and drive traffic to the mall? If you're not asking that question, don't open a business in the mall because you don't know what you're doing. Like, when it comes to that, it amazes me to how many people don't ask that very simple question. They're just, they'll set up leasing appointments at 4:30 on a Friday. The only time they go there, and they're not thinking about all of the down hours and all of the slow traffic and things like that. And don't get me wrong, there are some malls that are very, very successful, right? And they're still doing very well, but they've adapted, they've changed, they market the mall as a center, they market it in various media outlets. They do the things that the tenants expect of them, right? Instead of it just being a building that people congregate at.
Or walk around and drink coffee.
Yeah, that's becoming an issue. So yeah, like I know we're talking about insurance, but we're getting, you brought up a point, right? It's another business model that is ridiculously flawed when you're talking about that kind of stuff is like, remember the old Village Inns, right? Like I know there's a few of them still hanging on, but somebody asked me, I have a good friend that was working there for a long time. He'd been involved in management there a long time. And he's like, I just don't know how long it's going to last or whatever. And I'm like, well, not very long. And the reason is because they're trying to be reactive to a situation, and environments change so fast. It's like, oh, now we're going to put televisions up. Oh, now we're going to, do this, or now we're going to add this piece to the menu, and now we're going to do this. And they're doing that all as a reactive situation to the market, right? But they're not doing anything to drive in a new customer base. Like, it's like, hey, we changed all these menu items. We have this different look, and we have all this, but our marketing plan sucks. We're still going to advertise the same way we've always done it. We're not going to go after new people. We're not going to do different mediums, do different things, stuff like that. But like, that's the thing that intrigues me about the insurance business, right? And look, there's no secret. There's no shortage of insurance people, right? I mean, they're everywhere. You guys are like friggin' maggots, dude. You just step them on. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding.
Awesome.
I'm kidding. But no,
well,
I mean,
not you, the other ones.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, that's the thing is, like, in order to be successful, and you've got to be completely different. You've got to market different. You got to do things different. You can't be the same every day, Joe.
You got to tell people how you're different. And I mean, I know there's things that Country does that definitely separates you guys from the other insurance companies. And But if you're not telling people, then how are they going to know, right?
Right.
So that's why we do what we do, and you do what you do, and you know, we tell people about what you're doing. You know, there's numerous things in my head right now that I could, you know, bring up.
So here's what I'm going to do.
Fire up your notes app and
Yeah.
start putting them down for me.
Yeah, tell him how to run his business.
No, we do.
No, he does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But as far as like for us, you don't see us advertise in here in Illinois, unless you're in Chicago.
We're sitting in Iowa, dude.
Well, we could throw a we could throw a golf club to the river. But but my point is,
Wait, hold on.
I know you can throw a golf club. I know you can throw a golf club to the river. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Debbie might hear this. Don't do that.
She already has.
Yeah, we're streaming it live to her.
But no, we don't advertise a ton. So a lot of our business is through word of mouth, through small events like, you know, doing things like this, farmers markets, etc. You'll see us at big markets: Chicago, Kansas City, St. Louis, Seattle.
Do you feel like marketing in big cities is more of a defense mechanism than a proactive approach?
Well, why do you think that the big competitors do it so much? The brand recognition's already there.
Right.
They're just trying to protect what they have from exiting to the other players.
Right.
So
in a local market, obviously that's just as important. I mean, because any business owner could just take their business. You know, the next person that is so relationship driven, right? So like if I'm your client and I meet somebody and they just happen to be an insurance person and we end up in, you know, great friendship or something like that, it isn't going to take long for them to drag business away, right? Like that's just the nature of the game.
But that's why you can't be complacent either.
Right.
You still need to be active. You still need to be out seeing people, talking to them, whether they're your client or your prospect.
So you're basically changing kind of like I don't know, when you think of like insurance guys back in the day, I mean, they were just same people just sitting there, and your parents would say, yeah, go to so-and-so. They've been doing insurance forever, you know, and you'd put it on and you just buy it from there because that's where your parents would do it. Mm-hmm. It amazes me that people still operate that way, but
yeah,
it's
a lot of
failing
people,
them quickly, right?
Yeah, especially, you know, the millennials.
You said the millennials?
Millennials, yes.
What define millennial?
Not me.
Yeah. Well, that's obvious, dude. Look at the top of your head.
It's a little bald, you know, but
yeah.
No, like they're just more of, they don't want that contact. And I'm sure you probably see that a little bit. Like they would rather try to do things by email, through an app.
But they'll still buy.
They'll still
from
buy.
a person.
Yeah.
The other aspect is they're the generation that wants it now.
Mm-hmm.
So they want the answer when they call or shortly thereafter. So that's where we've launched a texting platform so we can get back to people. We've launched, you know, on top of email, Facebook message, and the 47 other ways you can get a hold of me. You know, but as I mentor other new reps in the company, you know, some of the things that I express to them is you got to do the things that the other people can't or aren't willing to do. Mm-hmm. And so the email is attached to my phone, Facebook message. There's like 4 different ways a client can get a hold of me and not even have my cell phone number and still be able to reach me on a Saturday if they need it. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not there, somebody else will be.
So you have a team of people, obviously, that work with you. I mean, you're not just super country man out there just doing it all by yourself.
No,
you know what I mean?
I've got staff back at the office because if someone called me right now, I need to be able to help them out.
Yeah.
And if it's not
or somebody from your company
correct.
needs to be able to help them out.
Someone out of my office needs to be able to assist them. And if by chance we're busy, we've paired ourselves with a great company that's got an excellent customer service center that can help handle 85% of a client's needs when they call in.
One of the issues with insurance that I had in the past, and it's one of the reasons I went with you, is, I mean, I obviously I had a claim from the previous company that I had, and it was just the process was totally unprofessional, and it makes me think. And I guess there's no really an easy way to explain it. When I'm going to say unprofessional, obviously, but I mean it was just I don't know. You know, I called in a claim. I said, "This is what happened. We need to get this taken care of." I called their 800 number, and I felt like I was talking to somebody that was sitting in his garage, you know.
It might have been, too,
and
if they were within the last year.
Yeah. And they're like, we'll see. Do you know what your deductible is? Dude, I don't know what my deductible is. Aren't you the insurance company? Can't you just look up my policy and tell me, right?
You should be able to.
You would think, right? So, I'll get back to you later. No call. And I'm a busy guy, right? So like I didn't even think to follow back up, and a week went by and a check shows up in the mail in a handwritten envelope. And hey, great, be personalized and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, I literally felt like somebody just didn't want me to question what they were doing, and they just sent me money. And that was it. Like, it was, I was, some people might like that. But that worried me. That worried me to the point to where, like, if something major happens, I wonder if they can actually cover the losses, right?
Like our claim side, you've been through a claim. You've been through a claim. Mm-hmm. I've had a claim.
Damn, Ice Dam.
I had one too.
I said, "Oh, did you?"
Mm-hmm.
Oh, tell us.
It wasn't as major as yours.
Oh, well, we have a new roof now.
I didn't get a new roof.
Oh, did you fix it at least?
Yes.
Was it an insurance claim?
Yes.
I'm wondering why you just didn't fix it yourself, you cheap ass.
Oh, because it involves some new gutter work. I can't do gutter work.
Sound a little bit like, I'm a crybaby.
No,
I can't do
that sounds like, hey, I got to go rent a piece of equipment to bend some gutters, and I'm about to do that.
Oh, okay. So I cut you off, or we cut you off. He started talking crap, and
that's all right.
So
it's not the first time. We're good.
You just wanted to say Ice Dam.
Yeah,
one more
damn
time.
Ice Dam.
Yeah.
Damn Ice Dam.
But as far as, like on the claim side, that's another reason why I chose to partner with Country 12 years ago. They've got an excellent claim service.
Holy cow, hold on. You've been there for 12 years?
Well, this is the 12th.
Wow.
So what are you, like 58?
39.
59?
Well, the hairline might show I'm a little older. But
Wait, you're what?
39.
Holy crap, dude. I'm the oldest one at this table.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll be 38 tomorrow.
Oh, I quit. I should be on a beach somewhere.
But no, 9 out of the last 10 years, we've had the highest ratio of, lowest ratio of complaints per claim. So we've won the award 9 out of the last 10 years. The company has. So the claims really fulfills the promises we make on the front end. Like, and that's, if you were to shop and look around, price is one thing, but there's also other factors that go into that. What's customer service center like if you can't get a hold of your rep? How easy is your rep how easy can you get a hold of them? And then what's the claims like? Because you could pay cheap insurance and then have a horrendous claim experience or not get what's owed and have to fight for it. That's not how the industry is. Yeah. That's the anomaly.
Yeah, they're paying. I mean, essentially, you're paying for advocacy, right? I mean, that's what
yours wasn't crystal clean, but it ended up being fine when it was done.
Yeah, and if I would have had insert crappy insurance name here, company, it would have worked out really well.
What if you don't have a rep? What if you bought it directly from the company?
Which is common.
Correct.
Which is my daughter has Progressive insurance.
So there's nobody to advocate for her, and every time she has to call into customer service, she has to retell her story because she's talking to a different person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's where the term idiot comes back into this conversation again.
That's going to be your go-to.
Yeah, I know. Idiot.
We should change the podcast.
Yeah. The title. Who's an idiot this week?
We can make that work.
We could. Idiot. Well, there's one other thing I wanted to touch on before we wrapped up here. I wanted to touch on, we had been talking a little bit about, I know we kind of touched on cars and stuff like that, and we've been talking about claims on cars. And what are some of the things to look out for when you have a really nice car, or it's just not a typical car? I mean, I've had situations, and I'll use a friend of mine example, and yes, I have friends too.
You sure?
It's really a family member.
Or is it a Facebook friend? Because they're all best friends on Facebook.
I have a lot of those. Yeah.
Everybody's got friends on Facebook.
Oh, yes, they do. If you have a nice car, right, like, and this particular friend has the state minimums for his insurance because he's a cheap ass, won't spend the money on it. He's like, look, I can adjust these down to $20,000 on my app, and my premium goes down $9 every 6 months. Right, okay. I mean, that's, I'm not exaggerating. That's the experience he's had, right? And to be honest, if I'm driving a $50,000 car and he's driving behind me, I'm worried.
Mm-hmm. You should be.
Because if he hits me, I'm screwed, right? Well, I'm not screwed because I'm covered, but
Always think
you're
worst
gonna-
case scenario.
You're going to be covered because you have a car and your car is insured on a policy.
right.
But he's going to have problems because if
So, like, what are some of the problems he'll have if he runs in? Because, I mean,
well, you don't have
you
enough coverage. You
We last time we talked about you didn't think there was going to be a time in your life where you were going to see a pickup truck that was how much money,
have
right?
$90,000 for an F-150.
Yeah, I mean, so if I've got a $50,000 limit on my insurance and I run into the back of that F-150,
What are state minimums? Let's use Illinois as an example.
Illinois is 2040, Iowa's 2550.
Explain that for the listeners here.
yeah, explain that for us in the cheap seats because 2040 sounds like you can see really damn good. That's what it sounds like.
No, actually, I don't know if that's even good vision. But.
So,
No,
so
you're right.
2040 is bodily injury limits that you pay to other people. With that is generally $20,000 for property damage as well. So what that means is Darren rear-ends you. You get a kink in your neck.
All right.
Darren drives into the back of my car.
Let's be adults here.
So Darren drives into the back of your vehicle. You get a whiplash. The back of your car is all messed up, and now, well, here let's switch gears. I've got a client. Back in February, slid through a stop sign.
Okay, nice car.
It was a 2019 RS5.
Oh, Audi.
Yes.
Nice car.
Very nice car. Slid through the intersection. Front end of his car got clipped. Was totaled out.
Seriously,
Correct.
clipped bad or
I can show you the photos. Literally just right in front of the front tires, just kind of swiped the front end. Looked like maybe a $15,000, $20,000 fix, but it got to the subframe, motor.
oh done.
Yeah. And so anyways,
What's the retail value of a car like that?
Like 80 grand.
$75,000.
Okay,
So that's
carry on.
That's what we paid out for it.
Now that I can envision the car, now I'm good.
So he, had he have not been at fault, let's say the other person was at fault that hit him, and they had those 20-40 limits, the 20,000 per person, 40,000 per accident. We would pay the difference. So their insurance company would pay the $20,000. We would pay the difference, and now we will subrogate back against them, which is a legal term meaning we're going to go get our money.
Subrogate. I can never say that word.
Subrogation.
Subrogation.
There you go.
It sounds like an indie alternative rock band. Subrogation.
Just
live at the Forum.
You can just ask Alexa over there.
Down at the Rust Belt.
Oh, now she's listening.
Did you, Alexa? Shut up. Carry on.
But so in that situation, what happens is the insurance company now wants to get their money back, and so they're going to garnish your wages. They could put a lien against your home. They could do all kinds of stuff to get their money, take you to court, and so that's where appropriate limits are in place.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people don't really understand is, and look, I know there's a lot of people in society that are like, I don't need insurance, and what are they going to take? I don't have anything, and all that kind of stuff, right? Like I get to that. I was young and dumb once too, and I thought had that train of thought when it comes to stuff like that, but I don't think they fully understand the amount of people that like an insurance company like Country have that sole goal is to recover loss, right? Like they will go to court, they will go through all that process, they will do discovery of assets, they will find out if you have anything, they will find out where you're working. My kid's fiance or girlfriend or whatever, I mean, I don't think she went through that rough of a situation, but I do know that she went through, she had a car accident and she was underinsured and she's paying a payment every month to the insurance company. And it's not cheap. I mean, it's like 50 or 60% of her income.
And they're going to do it until they get their money back.
Yeah. And if she stops paying them, she's going to be in trouble.
Correct. Because then they'll start taxing. You may have made.
They'll go after her paychecks and all that stuff.
So it's I understand folks that are not. The loan company told them they have to buy it.
Yeah.
So they don't want it. Nobody likes to be told what they have to do.
Right.
But the reality of it is, when you have a claim, because everybody's going to have one. Very few people don't ever. When you have a claim, that's when you realize what you bought.
Right.
And the only thing you can hope for is something catastrophic didn't happen. I mean, I recall a story of one of Darren's old clients that
I thought you were going to say friends, and I'm like, there's no way he's
Could be
got
a
three
friend.
of them.
Remember your client
Yeah.
was up late, was drowsy going into work, and the worst happened. They hit a pedestrian, and they're now deceased. And he luckily had.
I think I read about that.
He luckily had good limits, proper recommendations, and so he was well protected. But not all are.
Yeah, and they were actually trying to sue for even more.
More than what the policy limit was.
They ended up settling for the policy limits. I mean, it's still good, amount of money that was paid out. But
well, I'm sure they made a decision somewhere in there that thought that the policy limit is.
It took a year. It took a year to close that out.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Interesting. That is insane.
The one thing that I can say is what Country is really good at, and what Josh is even better at than most of the reps out there.
Are you kissing his butt?
Kind of. Well, remember, he's one of my one friends. So,
one of one.
Oh no,
as meeting with his clients and going over limits and just going over the whole picture. Because there's so many different things out there. But again,
I think we went through that when we went through.
People don't want to pay for insurance. It's like, I think the one thing that I remember that no one ever wanted to, pay for, I don't need it, is life insurance.
Yeah.
And I know it's like kind of so corny to bring it up.
But but still.
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's been so many,
COVID
examples.
changed that.
Yeah.
Actually, people are willing to have the discussion because all you have to do is flip on Good Morning America and you'll find out how easy it is to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true. And that's just one thing that, a lot of people don't think about, or, I got it through work. But then look at how many people lost their job during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Now they don't have life insurance. I'm getting unemployment.
Well, that's a whole
but I got no, yeah, exactly.
Another episode. But I know I said closing with this and then we wrap up, but there's one final thing that I want to say. And I want to go back to, you're talking about policy limits and stuff like that. Like, at the risk of sounding redundant and bringing the term idiot back out again, let's bring out idiot.
Don't say okay. Idiot. Is that going to be our marketing campaign?
No, yeah,
don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot. Yeah, that'd be a great marketing campaign.
Don't be an idiot. Call Josh Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't think
I wonder if you can get that URL.
Don't
be an idiot.com.
I was going to say, would that make it through compliance?
I don't think so.
No. I guess here's a question that I want to ask. Okay. And I want to know at what point states intervene and fix this problem, right? Because this seems to me like it's a big problem. And I mean, I can go to the state building, right? I can walk out into the parking lot that has 200 parking spaces and 190 of the cars cost more than the state minimums. At what point does the state say, gee, this needs to be revisited and we need to raise the state limits, right? Like that goes back to the being an idiot. And
well, the state minimums have been what they are for my 11 plus years. And so probably
there was, I can't remember if it was Illinois or Iowa, had recently just increased it a little bit. Because one state was lower than the other.
Okay, so 11 years,
that was
right?
within the last 5-6 years.
Now you're going to force me to look it up.
I know.
Darren, Google how much a brand new F-150 cost 15 years ago.
Oh goodness.
This is what I want to know. This is important to me because you said
here's what I can
how many years ago?
Here's
15 years ago.
A 1999 Ford Mustang GT 35th anniversary was like $24,000.
You have one of those cars, don't you?
I do. That's how I know.
Oh my God, you're such a dweeb.
I've had it since it was new.
I bet it's got a spoiler.
Well, I didn't put it on there.
It does have pink dice in the window.
Of course it
does not. It's leopard print.
It's probably got one of those fart cans on the back of it too.
Okay, so I was wrong. Illinois has increased theirs to $2,550. So both.
Oh, $5,000. Woo.
But
Yeah,
I don't even,
exactly.
To be honest with you,
That's
I don't even keep track of where the floor is because our recommendations are
stay the hell away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you find it?
Yeah. Ford F-150. Well, this is just what popped up. Super Cab STX 4-wheel drive, $29,000.
$29,000 15 years ago.
2005.
The same truck's 100 Gs, right?
Yeah.
Well, the one I was describing was the Shelby GT or the Tonka trunk version.
Oh yeah, so it's probably
But
what
still.
$70,000 probably for the other one. So it's 3 times the price.
Crazy.
Well,
Wait.
look at how many Yukon XLs, Denali's are driving around the Quad Cities right
Yeah.
now. Those are $80,000 cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend that had I have one friend. Actually, I have more. I have 2. Will you be my friend?
Mr. Rogers.
No, he's
new nickname.
he's had a Chevy Avalanche forever. He loves this Avalanche, but I mean, the car gets hit like every week, right?
Well, it does look like a tank.
I mean, it's like you look up the Carfax on it, and it's like 971 accidents reported, right? Like, but he loves the car, and they don't make him anymore. But the value of it's still so high to where, like, someone bangs into it and does a $5,000 damage on it, he fixes it, right? So it's like, even that vehicle today, and I think they stopped making them in 13. I think it's last year he had. So even those, I mean, they were still $55,000-$60,000 brand new in 13. I mean, that's what, 8 years ago?
8.
1, 2. Oh, but
9 model years here in a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, if I was to give you 10 seconds to give your elevator pitch for country, what would you say?
Well, I mean, I kind of threw it out there earlier about how
Let's just assume that nobody was listening because
so they tuned in late to the podcast. Yeah.
Okay, here's what you missed. Idiot is the key term of the day. No politics, and Darren has a friend.
3.
Well, there's 2 people in the room, so he's got one more, right?
Yes.
Well, it's his brother-in-law.
So it's family. They don't count, right?
Yeah. No.
Even though I call him friend.
It's a joking term, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
hey, friend.
Then he's not your friend.
Hey, friend.
You're stupid. All right.
No, as far as the elevator pitch, our job is to look after everybody. We want to have their best interests in mind, take care of them, make the proper recommendations. The premium falls where it falls, but ultimately we want to help people protect what they have today and plan for the future, and then protect against anything that the future may throw at them. That is our goal.
Okay. We're still on the elevator. The elevator's still going up.
Well, we only selected the second floor.
All right, Josh, thanks for joining us today. Have a good one.
Appreciate you having me.
Well, at least it didn't end like The Sopranos, where it just cut to black.
Well, you know how they say the show must go on? Well, they weren't talking about this show.
I think that's a 10.
Let's go with a 10.
That's all I'm going to say about it.
Well, that's all there is to it.
At the end of the day, though, loved every minute.
The party is over.
That's it? That's all you got?
Now get the hell out of here.